Welcome back to our Joseki series. I'm Ryan, and today we'll talk about 5 star point josekis for 19 to 10Q players. So remember, joseki is a word for a local variation that's acceptable for both black and white. But keep in mind that Go is about the whole board, so when you're choosing joseki, it's important to keep in mind that other stones around this corner is also important. And in this example, we'll talk about when white approach the star point, black can pincer. And here, white has the option of going directly into the corner at 3-3. Now, a common joseki is when black blocks, white extends, black extends, and white hanes, black blocks, white connects, black connects, and white extends and jumps out. So in this variation, white takes the corner, gets some territory, while black develops some influence and severely injures this white stone here. Now in this variation, I said that, so black develops here, while here it's pretty much no man's land. So keep in mind that black had that choice. So the reason why black would choose this joseki is if black has influence. For example, an example of that would be if black has a star point stone on this side, which then black can start to make some more points on this side. So the other joseki that's also common, we also start with the star point, white approaches, also black does the one space pincer. Now when white invades at 3-3, black can block on this side. And this is the second joseki that I will talk about today. And since black chooses this side, white extends here to connect these two groups. Black extends. And then white protects this weakness here. And then black makes a connecting move to enclose white inside the corner. Now this variation is very common only, this is an if and only if black has a stone on this side. And if better, black has both of these. So as you can see, black has developed a small wall that's facing the lower side. And it's crucial to have stones on this side that would complement that. So keep that in mind while you choose these joseki. Now, another very common joseki, we will see that when white approaches and black does the pincer move, white doesn't have to go in the corner. And in this case, white could jump out. So white doesn't want black to develop influence, and instead white actually takes the outside. So black defends the corner because this stone is weaker. So black jumps out. You can either do the high or low, but the point is to defend that stone. And now white does this shoulder hit. So this joseki, white forces to take the outside. So black pushes, make a turn, does one more, and then finally jumps out. Now this joseki though is a little bit better for black. And the reason for that is because black has taken both areas. And on top of that, white's shape still needs protecting because later there's a very important weakness here, and that's the wedge here. So it's common for white to play another move to fix. So black gets sente, and also black has developed some influence on both sides. So a little bit of territory on both sides. So in this case, black is a little bit better again. So these are 3 very common josekis for the one space pincer, we call this. So now what happens when black doesn't play the one space pincer and actually plays the 2 space high pincer? Now this move is, white can actually just invade the 3-3 again. Now this would simplify to the previous one that I've showed. So quickly, it's exactly the same as the first joseki that I showed, where white takes the corner and black develops influence on the right side. So black takes the right side while white takes the corner and a little bit on this side. The difference between these two is that black has a stone here instead of here. You might think that this stone being here is a bit better, but these two are actually very similar. Because in this case, this stone is closer, this stone is a lot less likely to come out. Now, if this stone is far, this weakness is much more prominent. So it's more likely now that white could eventually save this stone back. So this stone has much more liveliness, if you will. So this is another variation. But I won't count this as a new joseki. So the two-space pincer, white also has the option of jumping out. Then black defends on this side, either high or low, depending on reasons that I covered in the last video. White slides into the corner, black protects, and then white plays here. So here, white locally sort of makes a settling group there. But keep in mind that white has a lot of stones on the second line, and that's something to pay attention to, because in the early game, we don't like stones being on the second line. It's not very efficient when the board is very empty. And for these reasons, black is a little bit better, because white has so many stones and not very many points taken. So this is another joseki, but it's slightly better for black. And the final joseki that I will talk about, it's actually very common, and I like to point this out. So it's another case where when white approaches, black doesn't respond locally. It might be because there are other big points on the board, or black just chooses to nuki and play somewhere else. And in that case, white plays the double knights approach, when white has the knight's approach on both sides. And a simple response to deal with this is to make the kosumi. And that is because if black doesn't, the next move is very good. It looks very good for white to have this shape. So black doesn't want white to have this shape. And a simple way to go out into the center is to play this move. So white takes a 3-3. And this move is basically, we have a miai, which means I have two good points and I will take one if you take the other. And this move, I like to point out after this move that there's a common mistake for black. And this is blocking on either side. And very seldomly, blocking is the right move. And that's because after blocking, this shape is very heavy. And because white has more stones locally, even though black can jump out, this local shape is very bad and not ideal. So it's very hard for this shape to be efficient, and it's very heavy. So a better move to play in this case is actually to play a shoulder hit. Is to play a shoulder hit directly. The correct move for white is to pull back on the opposite side of the shoulder hit, and then black blocks. So in this case, black takes some influence on the right side, and in the future then black can block. And now this is a much better shape. So in this case, it's not good for white to block here, because then this stone is weaker, while this stone is less important. So the stone on the open side is always more important. So there we have it. We have went over 5 common josekis for players between 19 and 10Q. If you have questions, you can follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe below. In the next video, I will go over 5 more josekis for players between 19 to 10Q. I'm Ryan, and I will see you next time.